Since Troy TrojanVision's inception as TSU TV in 1975, broadcast journalism and other Troy students have produced a live television newscast each day, bringing news and information to an ever-growing audience through the university's broadcast and digital network, and now a worldwide audience via the internet. Equally important, this news program has been the launching pad for the careers of hundreds of media professionals who have the Troy University degree. Join us now for a behind-the-scenes look at what goes on during the production of Troy TrojanVision News, complete with commentary from the students involved.
Hey, I'm Kyle Bozeman. I'm the television manager, and you're
Jordan Elston, student news director.
And anchor A in the show, seen sitting there on your left. And we don't see him yet, but you are
Austin Cofield.
Austin Cofield, who we will see momentarily when we include the studio control or production control in our shot. This is like about 3.5 minutes right now before the beginning of our 5 o'clock newscast. It's in the summer term. This is actually June 17th, 2015, I believe. It's summer term, notable for not a whole lot of students on campus. And I think this is probably one of the least staffed shows in TrojanVision history.
But we still make it work.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We've got a couple of members of our professional staff working on the show. Aaron Taylor, you see walking around in the red shirt, and Jeff Herring just slid into the production control view right there with the audio board. Yeah.
And there's nobody to run prompter at the moment, so I have the clicker in my hand just in case I have to run prompter for myself.
Right. Prompter is in the studio. It's kind of actually behind Aaron right now against the wall of the studio. And there will be an operator, but we do have remote control.
Right now, Aaron's telling Sarah what cameras to look at because this is her first nightly show.
That's right. Jordan is our news director and anchor A there. Sitting next to her, Sarah Graham. Very first show ever. And she will have a couple of bloopers maybe in the show, I'm not sure.
She did a generally good job, though.
Oh, yeah, she did a good job.
Well, from the production point of view. I'm sitting on the director's board right there in the bottom screen in the middle. I don't know if we mentioned
Center
that.
of our screen, the lower screen.
The show went well.
Chelsea Itel, weather person, is eating something. Snacking.
And she just actually went and walked.
That's right.
Or she will be walking tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be graduating.
I think that's a granola bar I gave her, guys.
Hey, so.
Oh, that's me speed texting before the show starts. Going really fast there.
I think at some point that I heard you talking about eating something here in the pre-show.
I'm always hungry.
What I'm doing right now is like it's about 1.5 minutes till showtime, so I'm just double, triple checking that we've got everything in the pre-show ready to go, because anything that messes up behind the scenes is going to fall on me as the director for the night. So
That's right, Austin. It will fall on you.
want to make sure I don't mess that up.
And
you can see, I take it very seriously.
About to fall asleep.
I take my job very seriously.
Everybody's been working at this point for many hours, if not all day long, and getting stuff ready for the show. And this is sort of the moment of truth. 5 o'clock is about to roll around. It's looks like we've got about 40 seconds to showtime.
Right.
Maybe if I put glasses on, I'd be able to really read those clocks. And you can see the clocks on front of the cameras in the studio view are giving us a countdown till showtime. So
right now we got 30 seconds until we go live on air. As I just said. Now, one problem I had going into this is I never really call out my stuff, so I've been working on that over summer and really getting out my commands and stuff, so even newcomers will know what to expect.
That's good. Here goes. And you see it. The program output.
Gotta get that necklace
right.
straight.
And here comes a bunch of high-speed button pressing.
That's right. A lot happens right at the beginning, doesn't it?
I've been also told that I like to pound the input buttons instead of just lightly pressing them. But I don't know, I get excited easily.
And we never know any of that's going on at the desk.
So we have no idea what's going on. Well, they taught us in the 1980s that the harder you push buttons on digital devices, the better they work. So there's nothing wrong with that.
So while this first story is playing, we chat. I'm getting her ready to go on.
So do y'all ever actually like talk about the stories as they're playing?
It depends. Sometimes we find the story like really interesting, so then we'll talk about it a lot. Other times we'll be talking about completely random things. It's a good thing that our mics are off.
It's part of the fun fascination of the behind the scenes. One of the crazy things, or the thing that I thought was crazy the first time I was ever in a TV studio during a newscast, with grown-ups, commercial professional station, is everybody in the room is talking all at once like they're in a bar or something like that, and then somebody says 10 seconds and puts their hands up and everybody shuts up.
We should do that here.
Well, they pretty close here. I mean
sometimes you
get ready
can't
to
help
get
it
cute.
because you'll have like 3 people being trained, so people are trying to tell them
Right.
what's coming up, but then you can't hear the audio board and you're the director, so you're just kind of, I guess this is the out cue, let's cut back to them.
Well, it is important.
This is actually my story going
Yeah,
on.
this is your story.
Oh, yeah.
Austin he's all-purpose. He's a director and a reporter. And, that's something we like for all of our students to do, is get involved in every aspect of it if they have the opportunity and the desire. And I think it's one of the things that makes our students so valuable as employees post-college. They understand the other parts of a television newscast.
One of the things I want to be able to say whenever I apply to a new job is, hey, I worked at every station I could back in my college broadcasting area thing.
I'm listening to our behind the scenes sound, and I'm looking at the program, and gosh, I thought I had the audio and video synchronized a little bit better than that. But hey, it's the behind the scenes.
Oh, is this Chelsea's story?
It's Chelsea's story, and we gave.
Oh man.
And we gave poor Sarah, and I think I talked about this in the post-mortem, we give her like seemed like forever introduction. A lot of,
for her
most
first
intro
one.
stories are like 2, 3, 4 lines, and we give her just a 30-second plus intro for a story.
I remember Chelsea working on this story, and it was hilarious because we were both just started reporting, and she had like a bunch of messed up footage, so I was trying to find out my story and help her at the same time.
We're actually talking about the story in this one because she had some B-roll of some squash, and I love squash.
Sure.
So we're actually talking about the story here.
So I'm guessing food is a popular topic among the
yeah.
reporters.
Always.
Yeah, the teaching never stops at TrojanVision. You can see Aaron Taylor he's the production coordinator in the red shirt. It would have made sense to have Aaron join in on this commentary track, and we may have him do his own later because his knowledge of the show is so exhaustive and his enthusiasm for it is such that he would talk for a solid 30 minutes without interruption about it behind the scenes. But, we're teaching all the time, even as we're doing live shows. And Jordan is teaching the new girl, Sarah, about anchoring, while she's anchoring.
Now, we're about to go into state right now, and we have little graphics up now that just kind of like show targets over what part of the state, the city, or the story's taking place in. We used to do the Google Earth thing, and I really missed that, but...
It was really neat,
Oh,
but
I never saw that.
it fails so often because of like latency and stuff. We do the zoom in from orbit to a city location somewhere in the state, and it's got latency. It stops, it starts.
It's got to load the
freezes.
actual city. By the time we finished the state, the city was still blocks of gray, so you couldn't really see much.
Yeah,
That's why we swapped to the 2D graphic with the
I think that
target.
this looks good though. But
Yeah.
as an anchor, state is the hardest part for me to get through because there's such a long period of time with it just reading.
Right.
You have to be serious for so long. You can't giggle. You can't do anything else. So state's always the toughest part to get through. But after that,
For us, and behind the scenes, the tease that's coming up right now,
yes, it's really.
this is the
pretty
hardest
challenging.
part because it's so fast-paced. So if you listen to me calling out the rolling P1, P2, P1,
And that makes sense though, because depending on how long our tease is that we type in pre-show, that's depends on how fast y'all have to change.
Yeah, and sometimes we'll have like new server operators and they don't know to like click fast enough. I always tell them like, all right, this is gonna be very fast paced, so you might want to practice beforehand.
Yeah, the teases really call for precision, timing, teamwork. Sometimes involving people who don't have very much experience at all, but the anchor people are reading live and swapping lines in synchronization with pre-recorded video segments that the director and the server operator are playing out live, while the audio operator is mixing the anchor people's two microphones with the music of the tease, with the sound effects, the swooshes we call them, with a network reporter's voice on the third part of the TC. It's pretty complicated and high precision.
Now, I just want to go off track for a second. This is my favorite commercial. Every time I'm in charge of loading the server, I will always plug this commercial in.
Those are the cutest microorganisms in
like you can tell whenever I direct a show because I'll put this in at least once.
Wow. Yeah, since TROY TrojanVision is not a commercial station, we don't have commercials. We have public service announcements and promos for the university. We try to play one or two at least promos for the university in each newscast, and pretty much the other public service announcements that we do, particularly national ones, it's director and server operators' discretion. They can play what they want to. Well, summertime, sometimes a little bit different show. In the fall and spring, there would be a sports segment here that would be 4, 5, or 6 minutes. In the summertime, since the only sports that TrojanVision covers is Troy University sports, of which none of the teams play in the summertime, there's a little bit of news, some player honors and whatnot from spring sports, and then warming up for summer sports. But there's hardly any sports content in the summer. A couple of years ago, we took the decision to incorporate that into our news block, and we just do more national and international news. TrojanVision and Troy University we're affiliated with CBS, CNN, so we use some of their national and international stories. I'm going to shut up in a second and let you make a point. Those stories are web embargoed. I don't know if they are like a month after the fact or 6 months after the fact, but I thought I'd blur them out.
Just be safe.
Just to honor the spirit of it. Shells. What do you think they're talking about, Jordan?
I don't know. I think I just said something funny though because everybody was laughing. I don't know. I may not be funny, but I think I am. I think I'm funny.
We never actually really get to watch the stories in the newsroom, or if we do, if we're actually none of us are talking, we're all concentrating and stuff. I'm never paying attention because I'm always thinking in my head, what's coming up next? What do I have to prepare for? So people will be talking about these stories and stuff, and I'll just be like, oh, did that happen? Did we air that?
Some of the least informed people in the world, and this is an old saying in the TV business, some of the people who know the least about the news are people working in the control room and probably out on cameras as well in TV newscasts because they're busy during the news. They're working. They're not actually watching the stories that closely unless they're watching for particular things. I don't know if anybody picked up on it, but before the show came on, Austin, you tasked someone with watching what we call the confidence monitor that shows the return signal from cable television, which is right underneath that woman's name at the moment, to make sure that the show comes on TV.
Right, because that's the live feed what everyone else is seeing as well.
Right.
So we can see all this pre-show stuff, but
30 seconds.
All right, there was just on the big screen behind us, the BAM, there was just a picture of a shark. And so I turned my face and made it look like I was surprised that the shark was about to eat me.
And Aaron took a picture of you.
And that's what I was just laughing at.
Now, if it's all right, I'd like to talk a little bit about the control room and some of the features in it.
Okay, we'll interrupt you if we need to.
Sure thing. Okay, so down on the floor, or I guess to the right of me, is our other student director, Mike. It's not technically a student anymore, but there's the shark. Yeah. Now, Mike is running the entire back row. So on the
normally we would have 2 or 3 people back there.
Right, but we're so tight staffed over summer that. sometimes we have to run 3 things at once. So that computer on the left is what's controlling the graphics, and what's showing up on the TV screens and the monitors is like images and little clips, and I'll show you that whenever we get back on air. He's working on the weather computer right now, and that's just what we're doing to control like the PowerPoint slides and what is going to be behind the green screen.
Right.
And
While Jordan shoots a selfie.
I was just taking selfies. Don't worry about me.
But anyway, continue.
and to his right, which is barely on the screen right now, is our server. And our server is where we load all our video clips to play for every show. So we have to, one of our pre-show jobs is making sure the server is properly loaded and everything's in order. Because if something is out of order or a video clip is missing, then we run the risk of ruining the entire show.
And we try to have those video clips in by 4 o'clock. A lot of times some of the stories that we use don't come in until about 3:30, 2:30, 3:30, but we always try to have them in by 4 o'clock so that y'all have time to put everything in the right order.
And behind me is Jeff Herring, who is running our audio board. And that's actually a fairly new piece of equipment we have. I remember that wasn't always there whenever I started working here, but I think it's the second easiest job to mess up.
Well, it is. It's very easy to mess it up.
Because just like if you like accidentally fade it too fast or too slow, it kind of ruins the audio for everyone. So
It seems like it's a simple job, but making a mistake running audio is one of the kinds of mistakes that shows the most. You know, right in there with everything the director does.
right.
You know, if he doesn't do it well, he or she, it shows. If you run the wrong story or don't have a story you're supposed to have, that makes the server operator, that enables them to ruin the show.
Right. One of the things about production, or being on the production staff, is that every singular job seems simple, but then it's huge weight to carry on with it.
All taken together hard.
Now,
we'll
Before
talk a
I
little
was
bit about what's
taking
going on
these
here.
pictures, before I was taking selfies and texting, I was trying to tell Sarah about the toss to weather, that what she's doing right now. I had to tell her what camera to look at, that I was going to do an introduction, and then trying to tell her what she had to say to move into the weather segment.
That's right. We were while we were chatting about other things, we did the tease going into the second break, which is the break before the weather segment, and you saw Chelsea standing there in front of that green wall in your studio view, and you saw her chroma key in front of a map in the program view, and right now she's talking about some things that are in some full screen graphics, and she's going to step into front of the green screen and will be chroma keyed over the top of state and national maps and the forecast.
and like I was saying earlier, Mike is the one who's working on the station that controls what's on the green screen.
Right.
So, you know, looking at the studio cam, it's just a green wall, and then suddenly on the live feed, she's in front of a weather map. So,
And she has a
Pretty
little
fun
clicker.
stuff.
Yeah, she has a little clicker that enables her to forward through her
Another
maps.
Everybody's working really hard right now, guys.
Every now and again, there will be a problem with the clicker, and the graphics operator has to kind of take over and advance the maps.
we had one summer where we actually had to run the PowerPoint for every weather person. I think it was only for a few weeks actually, but we had to invent like a special kind of way of doing weather just so that our weather map operator would be able to know when to advance.
Now, Christy just walked into the shot to give her a time cue, so then that way she knows how much time she has left in the weather segment while she's looking to the side.
Yeah, you'll notice that in the studio view, upper left view, you can see that there's a little monitor just a little distance beyond Chelsea on the side of the green screen where she can see what she's doing. She can also see a monitor that's underneath the lens of the camera that she's on. But as much as possible, we like for weather people to look into the lens and, you know, look eye to eye with the viewers. As noted, we give them time cues. In addition to the countdown clock underneath the teleprompter, we also give them time cues by hand and hopefully where they're already looking. We'll have a cuer, person give them a cue in the direction their face already pointed. Aaron just came and told you something, Jordan. I wonder what it was.
Aaron just came to talk about the toss back to news from weather. So when Chelsea gets done talking, she's going to come back to the desk and she's just going to wrap up, what she talked about, and then we're going to have a little bitty conversation about it, and then go back to news. I'm using this time right now to take a last selfie before weather ends.
Now, I've always respected you weather people, because from a production point of view, this is one of the easy segments where we can just sit back and
we sit back 4 minutes.
Yeah, but I know how difficult it would be to stand in front of a camera and try to do like weather and time yourself and everything. Like, I couldn't time myself.
I know. I said I wanted to do weather one time, then I got put on it week by week, and really it does get difficult because you have to know what you're talking about, or you have to try to read. You have to make sure that you say things that make sense, and then talking for about, you'll have about 3 minutes and 30 seconds each time. Talking for that long without a break, that gets tough. Your mouth gets dry, you want to take some drink of water, but you can't do that. You just have to keep going.
And there's no teleprompter in weather.
Right.
The weather people, be they college students or seasoned meteorologists, well, they're saying for 3, 4, 5 minutes at a time. And in the case of severe weather, continuously, it's just coming out of their head. It's entirely extemporaneous. It's a matter of interpreting the maps and simply knowing what the presentation is.
Now here we've got another tease that's extremely fast-paced.
Yeah, there's about to be the other big faux pas of the show right here.
So you see right there, like, we had like 5 seconds to play that one clip. We just got to hope our server operator is that quick as well.
We have a tease that has what is purported to be a fried rat from a major fast food restaurant, and the character generator, the words on the screen said hurricane safety. So we're showing fried rat and we say hurricane safety. Oops!
Gotta stock up on those fried rats for the hurricane season. That was a gross story though. I remember that.
People love bloopers. They love seeing things wrong on television and in the movies.
Definitely wrong.
And our job is to stamp them out.
Yeah, I don't like seeing that from a production point of view.
No, you don't.
I don't like it when stuff messes up.
But again, you know what? I think the way we organized the pre-production of our show, did the beginner not have something to do with that? So
she did. But it's okay. You learn from your mistakes,
Exactly.
and you keep on going.
So there's a lot of things you can mess up on production-wise, but what about anchor-wise? Like, what are some of the problems y'all have?
Well, before the show starts, we have to download all the stories that we are going to use throughout the show. We have to type in those teases and things like that. So if you type in the tease wrong and it's in the prompter wrong, we're going to read it wrong. I know that we ran into this later on in the summer. The stories got switched in the rundown, and the rundown just lets us know the order that the show is going to go in. So when the stories got switched in the rundown, we went back and fixed it, but we never changed it in prompter, so it got read incorrectly. And y'all, the servers people, control room, was playing the right thing while we were reading the wrong thing, and that's something that should have been fixed pre-show.
That's one of the problems we have. Is y'all are using physical printouts to run down, but ours are mostly digitally updated. So we're seeing the updated copy, but then y'all get the printed one.
We're playing tic-tac-toe right now, though.
Something to point out, one of the two monitors that's very close to Austin in the bottom of the screen, you may be looking at your rundown right now. That's right, you're looking at your paper rundown, but you have the scripts themselves and a soft panel there to your left.
And every director likes to direct differently. Like, everyone's got their own style, and you can't actually tell on that screen that's right in front of me, but I actually have the director script and a digital copy of the rundown, as well as a physical copy. And everyone makes fun of me for it because they're like, well, why do you need a physical copy? But honestly, I just like having both. Don't know why, it just makes me more comfortable.
I think I would be scared to not have a physical copy of the rundown.
Right.
Because I don't know when I've directed a newscast here. I'm not sure I've directed an entire newscast in forever, but and not just like a part of one or done a show that we had dumbed down for my convenience or something like that. But everybody has their own style. Mine always involved things like not really paying very much attention to the script, just looking to see what the cues were in the times, and I'm often telling people, you don't have to follow along word by word on the script with them. You just have to know what the cues are, which is not always the best advice.
Yeah, my speech professor told me the same thing. I intended to use some of that in anchoring, but then I was like, I think I might just be safer just reading off the words, honestly.
Right, right. And again, we talked about what Austin's got there information-wise. You'll notice that the anchor people, I think we had a highlight about this earlier in the show. They've got paper rundowns, but they've got e-readers instead of paper scripts. We're so green here at TrojanVision. We're ahead of everybody in the business, which is not that, it sounds crazy that we would be ahead of industry, but we've got some pretty cutting edge thinking going on around here. And we're, instead of using paper scripts, we've been using those e-readers for 3 or 4 years, pretty long time now. I think we're on our second sets of them because we burned up the first sets with frequent use.
But these are neat though, because I feel like with paper, I probably get my papers mixed up.
Right.
Throw them in the air sometimes. I don't know.
Right.
Now, I believe this is a Jenny Moe story, right?
Probably. Jenny Moe is our favorite CNN reporter.
Yes, we love her stuff. I think we do a Jenny Moe story almost every single newscast. In the summertime, yes.
Because we use so much more.
But she has quickly become the production's favorite reporter because she always does the funniest stuff.
Well, she has a lighthearted take on things that aren't even necessarily lighthearted stories sometimes. She can find the humor and
she's an optimistic reporter.
She's an optimistic.
I can appreciate that.
Yes, and the usual talk about.
Well, Sarah said she was going to be going to South Africa for some really cool stuff, and so everybody was super jealous, and then we started laughing about it because she.
I don't know how you remember this conversation.
Because some stuff that we talk about on the desk is so funny that I just can't help but to remember it.
See, for us back there, it's like always such like a rush for me because it's like I'm so in the zone with all this that after the show I just forget everything.
I've run cameras before now. Y'all talk about some funny stuff too, so I'll hear y'all over the headset.
Oh really? Mm-hmm. See, I don't ever notice that.
That's true. I think for anybody directing, you get in the zone and you can't believe it's been 30 minutes because it sure doesn't feel like it.
I mean, now we're about we're about 6 minutes till the end of the show now.
Interestingly, amusingly, this story is Slugged, and that's like the in-house name for the story. As I look at the rundown, this is Slugged, Finger-Licking Rat, which is a play on a thing of slug.
It's still such a gross story.
It really is.
Everybody's getting serious because we're about to go back on there.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're about to go into Trojan Talk in a second. Oh, that's right. The time was wrong on this video. So we were 10 seconds
I was
heavy on
confused,
that.
but I still had to be alert.
Ready. Better be.
There we go. So now we're about to go into Trojan Talk, and this is my favorite part because it's about a 5-minute break for us.
Sure.
This is my least favorite part because we're about to have to guess how much time is left at the end of the show.
We always do this in-house game where I find out, or calculate how much time is left in the show.
There is math in television. Austin.
Are you doing the math in your head?
Yes, and it's awful.
See, this is why it's always wrong. This is why my guesses are wrong because he's making this math up in his head.
I mean, sometimes I'll sit there for 2 minutes just watching the clock like,
I might be calculating right now, but I think I was just doing some calculations because I've been trying to keep up. Yes, I was trying to keep up. I was trying to keep up with like the time throughout the show because I like to be right.
So I'm still sitting here watching the clock like
making up numbers.
All right, there we go. Mm-hmm. Finally found out my time, so I'm about to go over there and have them guess what they think the time is. But and they have to guess how much time they think is left in the show. But if they guess over, they're just out.
Is there a penalty? What's the prize?
The prize is bragging rights.
What? Bragging rights.
And I take that very seriously. We need to have prizes.
No
I think Jordan might be the most serious player.
I might be like trying to double check my numbers.
So you see me like pop up in the side of the screen there, and I'm asking them what they think the time is.
And I'm really concentrating.
Oh my! You're channeling. You're channeling your inner Einstein.
I'm really bad at math, so I have to try really hard.
But see, the thing is that like stuff doesn't always go according to rundown.
No.
It's one of the things you have to be prepared for in the TV business is that you can calculate everything to the second, but that doesn't mean it's going to go perfectly or everyone's going to time their stuff correctly. So you've always got to be on your toes.
And then it depends on anchors as well, because some
Right.
anchors read faster than others.
That's right. You're really there's always an element, a little fudge factor, and playing it by ear factor, because things may have been timed wrong, like that finger-licking rat story.
Right.
Sometimes there might be a Trojan talk that you don't get the time right on, or you start the clock late or early. Occasionally, we've had episodes where we had the show clock time wrong and had an incorrect time for what time the show was going to be over.
That's one of our production responsibilities too, to make sure we got the time right, because I believe we had a show sometime this summer where our clock was 2 minutes early or something.
Something like that. We actually started the show early and finished early relative to what was on television. Now, there are enough people looking at that kind of thing at a commercial station that I would expect it to be impossible. But then I would have expected it to be impossible for us to have that same kind of mistake as well. But you know, we're trying to match into automation systems and the like, and sometimes we have errors.
Right, and we are a student-run news production, and we always are training new people, but we still want to strive to have each show be perfect.
We always want to win. And honestly, 90% of the shows we do, 95% of the shows we do, I would say we're on par with commercial broadcasters, you know, with directors and anchor people that are making mid to high 5 figures or 6 figures.
I guess 55.
Are you going to be under?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. I probably lost.
I happen to know that we're going to fill some at the end of the show.
I won. I won.
That was her victory speech.
Yeah, maybe we should back that up and listen to that again.
I was so excited. All that math paid off. That's what it was.
Now, you'll see Mike down here in the control room still. What he's preparing is the credits. And we have to update them every night depending on who's working what. Because every day we have a different arrangement of people. So some people might want to run server one day and then decide they want to run audio the next day.
And that's another challenge that we have relative to commercial stations and the like. You know, they have the same people doing the same jobs every day, and boy, doesn't that sound kind of boring. Maybe, maybe not. But a lot of times we don't know who's going to operate what, aside from the directors. We may not know at 4:30 who's going to work every job, and I think we should probably do a little bit better than that. But sometimes it's not always possible.
It's sometimes it's hard because you'll have some volunteers like walk in 5 minutes till showtime, and we're like, perfect, get on something that's empty.
You want a real interesting show? Put me in the control room.
Hey, we can teach you.
I mean, what's great about this being a student-run production is that, you know, I always knew I was going into TV business. My very first semester here at Troy University, I managed to get training on the director's board. I came in and asked, how can I start getting practice on the director's board? And Jeff, right there next to me, was like, come back on a Wednesday night when we do training. And I'm like,
he said,
perfect.
sit down. So, and again, this show is so thinly crewed that it really looks like we need some folks to come and help us. But hey, we'll take all comers if we've got a task for them to do, or if we can create a task for them to do.
All right, now this is the closing right now, so we got some music playing in the background, and we're about to finish up the show.
I definitely think that the most fun part of the show is during Tea Talk, though, because we're just having such a great time. Since it's such a long part, we have a long time to just chat and bring it all together for the close.
Yeah, it's a really fun time to reflect on some of the funnier stories or things that happened earlier too. Like if Weather Girl has her mic tangled up in her chair and she almost trips going to the weather wall.
Or she says something like, if we look at the tippy top of our nation.
Oh, look, there's my favorite commercial.
Yeah, there's your microbes again. Now, we'll have to be looking at Austin when we get to the real timing-wise end of the show. I mean, the show is basically over. We're filling with a couple of PSAs to make back into our automation system at 5:30 to the second. And you're going to see Austin react to it doing his good job. And it will be almost as good as Jordan getting the number right earlier.
Well, we have these new lights, and so I keep pointing down at the desk where there's that glass overlay right there, there are 2 monitors down there, so we can see what's on right now
Yeah, we should have
and
talked about that.
what they have like programmed to come on next. And so I like to look in those monitors because these new lights make my skin look so milk chocolate that I just have to show everybody.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, you look really good on the new lights before. I think I've mentioned that a time.
Thank you.
Who's that weird-looking guy? And yeah, we didn't talk about it, but there are monitors down at the desk where you can see what's on television and what's going to be on television next and the like. And you can see how wonderful those new lights are by how crummy everything starts looking when you turn them off and you switch to fluorescent room lights.
Now, will you tell us a little bit about what you're doing here right now?
Yeah, we're gonna finish up our little behind the scenes commentary before we really get into it, because we're at this stage in the show we're waiting for the control room crew to get there, which is why I look however I look.
Gotcha.
Anyway, we do a post-mortem after every show, which sounds one of those cool TV terms that we've stolen from something else. We do the autopsy of the show to talk about what we did right, what we did wrong. Some people think that they're in danger of being in trouble, that it's a call-out session, but it's really not. It's to take advantage of a chance to review what we've just done and try to learn from it. And give everybody should be paying attention so that they can learn from the good things, bad things that other folks did.
Now, like for people like me and Chelsea, it's also a good time for us to get feedback on our stories and get advice on how we can improve.
I mean, that's one of the biggest teaching moment of your stories, I hope anyway. You get advice, direction, and teaching in the process of putting them together, but then you get some viewer reaction right after they've been on television.
Mm-hmm. And getting advice from your bosses who see thousands of newscasts all the time, as well as your peers who also work in the TV business, hearing their advice is really beneficial to new reporters like me.
I hope so. That's why we did it. We haven't always done that. Sometime 10, 11, 12 years ago, some students came to me and said, "Hey, could you come in after the show and talk about, what we did well and what we didn't do well?" And we've done it ever since. And that's the end of our show. Hope you enjoyed it. And
I think we're about to go off on a
watch
rant
TROY
there.
TrojanVision.
Probably, not surprised.
Watch us online here on YouTube. And if you're a Troy student or a faculty or staff member, come on down and pay us a visit. It's an added bonus to the university that, it's kind of cool to see TV done behind the scenes as well as see TV.
And it's fun.
Right.
And it's fun.